Hello everyone and welcome to PhoneUX. So I've officially reached 2 months of owning the Z Flip 4 and I wanted to go over my experience so far. It's been mostly positive, but there are some negatives and a few things that I've noticed that are worrying me. So to get this started, let's begin with the pros. First thing is that the phone is still has that cool factor, still has that new feeling, because even though it's the fourth generation of the phone, it's still not very common to see out in public. So far, I'm the only one that I've noticed with the phone. Not to say that it's not selling well; it is selling well, but it's still just not as common or as popular as the slate phones, the standard format. Second thing is that I'm actually taking advantage of the folding feature. When at first, actually for quite a while, I would turn off the screen and then close it, and so I was starting to feel like I was kind of doing just double the work. I wasn't exactly getting the full benefit of the fold or of the flip phone. So I actually started just closing the phone without turning off the screen, and it has improved my overall experience with the phone in terms of the time or motion that it takes to turn off the screen compared to the traditional phone. Now it's at par. Next, I would say that the chipset is performing great. So the phone is able to play games, intermediate games or slightly older games. Like for example, I play Injustice 2 a little bit, and I could play that until the battery dies, and the phone just will not get hot because it's not making the chip, the processor work hard or anything. So it is staying cool, cooler than the previous generation, which I did have as well. I can't play the higher end games, the newer games, the more intense games. For example, I actually played Fortnite on this phone, and I was able to play a few matches before it started to get on the warmer or hot side. So it did handle the game perfectly, and the temperature wasn't too bad. The last positive I have about this phone is that the camera, even though the hardware is not up to par with some of the flagship phones, it does keep up. So the software is working hard, and it's taking good pictures. So I've actually compared it to pictures that my family has taken with iPhones and with other S20 Ultra, and the picture's actually comparable as long as you keep it within range of what the lenses can handle. So as soon as you start zooming in, obviously iPhone 13 Pro, iPhone 14 Pro, and S20 Ultra, S22 Ultra, they're gonna take better pictures because they have actual optical zoom lenses. I would say anything up to 2 times magnification on this phone comes out pretty well. Colors come out great, and it does come out clear. Once you get to 3 times, the photos at 3 times are, I guess, alright for smaller pictures, maybe for social media, thumbnails, profile pictures, something like that. But if you blow up one of those pictures onto a large screen at 3 times zoom, you'll notice that it's just the quality is missing, because you're zooming in 3 times, you're cutting the pixels down, and it has 12 megapixels to begin with. So that kind of leads me to the start of the cons. And at $1,000, I'm a little annoyed, I guess, that it doesn't have at least either the 48 megapixel, 50 megapixel, or higher, or at least an optical zoom. It has neither of those two, and so you're kind of limited when it comes to any type of zooming in. But at $1,000, I feel like it should have at least one of those two. I understand that some hardware needed to be cut down to cheaper versions to kind of make up for the folding and hinge system, which I'm sure is very pricey. But it still kind of hurts to pay $1,000 and not have the par specs on the hardware for the camera. I mean, the Pixel 7 has a 48 megapixel, I believe it is, at $600. So I'm finding it hard to believe that the hinge system is half the price of the phone, or 40% the price of the phone. So if the Pixel 7 at $600 was able to get a better lens, or more megapixels, I should say, I just don't get why this phone couldn't come with a 50 megapixel lens. Yeah, that kind of hurts. The second con I would say is the cover screen. It is cool. The widgets that are on there are all useful. But I still feel like it's still a small amount of widgets. There should be an increased amount of widgets by now. And beyond that, I don't see why it doesn't have a full OS on it instead of just widgets. For example, there is a launcher that lets you use the full apps on the cover screen, and this is just from a third-party developer. So I just don't quite see why Samsung couldn't do something similar, and if they didn't think it would be a good fit, then the other thing is that I'm comparing it to would be the watch. So Wear OS has a lot more features, and it's working on obviously a different shape screen, but the screen size is comparable, probably even smaller. So I just don't see why they couldn't have those widgets or the same caliber of widgets that's found in Wear OS. Why couldn't they have that on the cover OS? So that's a bit of a letdown, and I'm hoping that Samsung will increase the usefulness of the front screen, and not just slowly. I hope that the next cover screen can do a lot more. I would even add to that and say that the cover screen should probably extend all the way and take advantage of of half the phone rather than just this small sliver at the end here. It should. I mean, I just don't see why it's not the whole front of the phone. It would be a lot more useful. They can still have the camera array on the side or on top here, and it would just be beneficial to have a larger screen on the outside. So now I'll go to some of the worrisome behavior, and maybe I think it might have been a bug that I experienced, or I'm not sure, or maybe it was just a sensor issue. But not too long ago, maybe a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, I was in a theme park walking around. I was opening and closing my phone a little bit because I was taking pictures and then putting it back into my pocket. And on that, this only happened one day, but it happened multiple times on that one day. So what was happening was that when I would open the phone, the sensor or something happened where the phone didn't realize that it was open all the way, and it stayed on flex mode. I had to slightly close it and open it all the way again in order for it to realize that it was actually fully open. So that was weird. That must have happened 3 or 4 times throughout the day. And it hasn't happened before since, and it didn't happen before that. So it might have just been just the overall scenario that I was in. Maybe it was hot, or maybe some dust got in the hinge. I don't know what it was, but it was just odd behavior. And the next on the list of the worrisome behavior is that the phone is making a little bit of noise when it opens and closes, kind of like a crackling noise. And so that's kind of worrisome. I don't think the hinge is going to go out. That's mechanical, and I would really doubt it. I think it might be more related to the screen itself, or either that or maybe just the screen protector, which that would probably be best case scenario. But yeah, that noise doesn't instill any confidence that the phone's going to last very long. And I guess hopefully it's kind of related to that, is that the screen protector is showing some weird wave-like pattern on close to the crease, and I'm wondering if that's maybe some adhesion issue. Maybe it's starting to separate from the screen in that area. I'm not sure. I'm hoping it's not. I'm hoping it's just that maybe the heat has kind of warped the screen protector a little bit or something. That does kind of leave me a little bit anxious that something's going to happen to the phone and I'm going to be left without a phone. I guess my final thoughts on this are that I am thoroughly enjoying the phone. I'm still liking it. I'm actually liking it more since I started just closing the phone rather than pressing the button, the screen off button, and then closing it. But I am a little worried about the longevity of the phone, the reliability of it. I don't want to say don't buy the phone, but be careful if you do buy the phone. Be prepared to have a backup, have a plan to get a backup quickly or something. it's new. It's still new technology. It's a 4th generation, and it has improved every year. So I mean, they are heading in the right direction, but it's still gonna take some time in order for it to get to be as reliable as the Slate phones. You want to take a risk with it, go for it. You'll be supporting the technology, and then obviously the more sales Samsung gets, the more they'll spend on R&D and improve it. So it's definitely good if you want to buy it. Just something to keep in mind. It's still not as reliable. All right, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and comment. And as always, see you next time.